Hello everyone. I am Samir Arora, a third year BTech IT student from GSITS College, Indore. Today we will be studying transaction states with diagram. Um, so let's begin with our topic. What is a transaction? A transaction is a unit of program execution that accesses and possibly updates various data items. Usually, a transaction is initiated by a user program written in high-level data manipulative language or programming language, for example, SQL, C, C++, or Java, where it is deeliminated by statements or function calls of the form begin transaction and end transactions. The transaction consists of all the operations executed between the begin transaction and end transaction. Let's move forward. So these are the basic four properties of transaction, which are known as ACID properties. To ensure integrity of the data, we require that the database system maintain the following properties of the transaction. That is atomicity, consistency, isolation, and durability. These are the four properties of transaction, which are basically known as ACID properties. Let's further discuss in detail about all these four properties. What is atomicity? Atomicity states that either all the operations of the transactions are reflected properly in the database or none are. Let's move to consistency now. Execution of a transaction in isolation, that is, with no other transaction executed currently, preserves the consistency of the database. It basically states that the transaction should not occur concurrently and to maintain the consistency of the database. Let's move to isolation. Even though multiple transactions may execute concurrently, the system guarantees that for every pair of transactions, for example, Ti and Tj, it appears to that either Tj finishes the execution first before T1 or Tj started execution after T1 finished, thus each transaction is unaware of the other. It means that though transaction may not occur concurrently, but if in case it occurs, it guarantees that both T1 and Tj, if for example there are two transactions, they both are unaware of the transaction that are happening in the system. Also, the last property which states that durability. After a transaction completes successfully, the changes it has made to the database persist even if there are system failures. Durability state that, for example, if any changes is made to the database and there occurs system failure, the database must reflect the changes that has been occurred prior to the data failure. Okay, so let's move forward to transaction states, which is the major topic for today. Transaction state states that there are a total of four states, in which first one of which is active state. The initial state, the transaction stays in the state while it is executing. Same next state is partially committed after the final statement has been executed. The fail state, after the discovery that normal execution can no longer proceed. Aborted, after the transaction has been rolled back and the database has been stored to its prior the start of the transaction. Committed, after successful completion. So this is the transaction state diagram, which states that the active state from which the transaction has started, then it has two options. Either it can go to fail state and get aborted, or from partially committed state to committed state. Here, even in the partially committed state, the transition can fail, and hence the transition can move to fail and then get aborted. The active state, there is the main state from which the transaction starts. Then it goes to it has two options to go to. Either it can go to partially committed state or to the fail state. The fail state, then it goes to aborted state and the transaction ends. But in case if it goes to committed state, then partially committed state is the midway state between active and committed state. From partially committed, it goes to committed state. But in case if it gets failed at partially committed due to certain reasons, then the partially committed fails and get aborted. I hope this is clear. So this is the basic view of This is all the things that I taught. It can restart the transaction, but only if the transaction was aborted as a result of some hardware or software error that was not created through the internal logic of the transaction. A restarted transaction is considered to be a new transaction. It can kill the transaction. It usually does so because some of the logical error that can be corrected only by rewriting the application program, or because the input was bad, or because the desired data was not found in the database. So this was all about the transaction state and diagrams. Thank you for your